Unbelievable. You're back in the streets, running from the feds, man. Look at you.
We need you, Ka. Corn Pop is a bad dude.
Corn Pop is a bad dude. Hey, yo, Dirk, you heard what he said about Corn? Corn Pop is a bad dude. Man, Corn Pop built this city. He got a lot of people loyal to him on this block. You know what they used to say? Corn Pop got the drop and Obama got the drama. Because I got that thing that go ra-ta-ta-ta. So you better check yourself before you shit yourself. Yeah. And if Corn Pop is such a bad dude, then what does that make this little corny-ass wannabe Dave Chappelle sitting right here next to you? You know what? Enough with the lollygagging. You way over your head on this one, big boy. This is Chirac. It's lots of malarkey going on in these streets. Just tell me one thing. Why are you protecting this rat?
Barack, man.
You shut your mouth.
Because he voted for me. And if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
Is there anybody listening? Is there anyone that sees what's going on? Read between the lines, criticize the words they're selling. Think for yourself and feel.
Hello, Monday. Welcome back to the trailer park. I am Chanda-Masta, and this is Monday, man. I don't know how your guys' Mondays are shaping up, but mine's a typical Monday. I've got one eye that wants to run. I'm having the worst allergy attack. It is super warm. I woke up in a major hot flash. It's already 78 degrees. And for us, you guys know that is hot. It's going to be a scorcher today. Probably going to be the hottest day we'll have all year or close to it today. So all the ACs are cranked. And I think that's why my eye just keeps running. So if I shove some toilet paper up my nose and do the show, just go with it, guys. Or rip my eyelashes off. How is everybody this morning? Are you staying cool where you are? Hi, Snow Leopard. Good morning, Popeye. Jilly's hanging out. Cold Fusion Gaming's in the house. Midnight Karma. Good to see you. Who else is in here? Go Start. Good morning, Go Start. I know we got some peeps hanging out over on the Rokfins. Fred Edwards, thank you so much for getting all of our tweets shared out. Good morning, Corky. Let's see. Oh, Fred's the only one hanging out on the Rokfin that's talking. Pittsburgh Dude 87. I saw you hanging out over at Heartlands Media this morning. Yeah, because I do the rounds every morning. I stop by all of the peeps over on the Rokfins. Steve, see what he's talking about. Jason Burmis, what he's talking about. Poor Jason Burmis. He's had the worst tech problems all week. And it's because he has Windows 11. I keep sending a message like, dude, take Windows 11 out of your computer and that's your software problem. I mean, when you're trying to stream, these streaming softwares do not integrate with Windows 11 at all. We literally had to rip it out of my new machine and put Windows 10 back in just so I could stream to you guys. Hey, do you guys know I'm moving to a new studio? It's September. The first week of September, I am getting off of Restream and moving into OBS so I can do an overlay and look more professional. My transitions are going to look better. And I'm hoping that the 1080p will be in 60 frames per second, not 30. That's why when I move, I get blurry, is because our software can't keep up with more than 30 frames per second. Yeah, it could be my internet too. We all know I got shitty internet, but that's the way it is. I'm sure I'll take a copyright strike for that last video, that first video. But come on, it was funny. It was funny. Corn Pop, he's a bad dude. But anyways, fair use. I am just commentating. And if you guys are interested in anything I'm talking about, you can go out there and do your own research. I mean, it's that easy. You know, the info is out there. When I first started falling down rabbit holes, because I don't think I went looking to go dive down any rabbit holes. I think I fell in a few. I was shocked at the amount of information that was truly out there. Now, granted, this was 10 years ago before Google was scrubbed and the internet was scrubbed, but still, there's still good info out there if you're looking for it. Good morning, Natalie Williams. Rick, good to see you. Yeah, you guys, you know what? it looks like Convo's going to go live in a half hour, which is fine. You guys can head over and watch Convo. I know that we don't get them as often as we used to, and those are my brothers and sisters. So, of course, I support them. But I think they're getting ready to change their schedule up a little bit. I think because Pasta's hanging out with Jimmy and doing the Jimmy show, I think they're going to be moving to a different days. Don't quote me on that, but I heard that through the grapevine. So I won't be heartbroken if you go hang out over there. I get it. I would be hanging out over there too. Okay, let's get started with this day in history. And the Boomer wrote this day in history for us this morning. Thank you, Boomer Oz. Let's see. Halle Berry's birthday is today. She was born in Cleveland, Ohio. 1917, China declares war on Germany and Austria-Hungary during World War I. Let's see. 2016, Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt won the 100-meter at the Rio de Janeiro Games, becoming the first person to win the event 3 consecutive Olympics. He later claimed an unprecedented third straight gold medal in the 2,000 meters. Yeah, who watches the Olympics anymore? I mean, I grew up thinking it was a big deal, right? I mean, you could grow up to be an Olympic star, but yeah, watch a couple of their opening ceremonies and you'll understand it's some kind of ritual. Let's see. 1935, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act establishing a permanent national old age pension system through employers and employees' contributions. Do you see that? Through employers and employees, which means the government shouldn't have no fucking say in what they can take, when they can take it, and how old you have to be when you get it. Just want to point that out. And, we could have done the same thing with healthcare, but yeah, fuck the poor people. And 1959, American basketball player Magic Johnson, who led the National Basketball Association, Los Angeles Lakers to 5 championships, was born in Lansing, Michigan. Oh, Magic. Did he? I wonder, he never took AZT, did he? He'd probably be dead if he did. Just saying. I'm just saying. Let's see. What is this? Oh, yeah. Just a reminder. In today's society, you have to be very careful what you say. You don't want to offend anybody. Me. Fuck them. Remember, this is the trailer park. We drop truths here at the trailer park. Oz dropped this one. Banks, when you owe them $1, banks, when they crash the entire financial market and need $100 billion loan. Yeah, exactly. Right. Try overdrafting your account, man. They'll come for you. They want that money. They're going to get that money any way they can. Yeah, my mother-in-law was on the phone with Social Security this morning. Those motherfuckers. I mean, she gets just around $1,000 a month. She is old enough to where all of her insurance should be covered by Medicare or Medicare, actually, not Medicaid, Medicare, because she's Social Security. And no, Medicare Part D has decided they're going to come take part of her check. So they're dropping her from $1,000 to like $800 cash a month, because somebody's got to pay for that goddamn Medicare Part B, which doesn't even cover anything. And then so she calls Social Security and they go, no, you need to call welfare. This is their problem. They're the ones that did this. She gets so confused so easily and upset and riled. The older, I've worked in a lot of nursing homes. The older you get, the easier riled you get, right? You don't have that equilibrium, calm down, and sense of rationality that you have when you're younger. I swear to God, you lose your patience as you get older. I mean, to an extent, you get more patient, and then you hit a certain age, and then there is no patience, and it just pisses me off, the bureaucracy and the tape that people have to jump through, even at that fucking age, and then trying to explain to whatever representative, like, she doesn't have a power attorney, but I help her out. And then you got to get permission to even talk to him. And she's got to get on the phone and be like, yeah, talk to him. It's so insane. And I know I'm not the only household in America who's dealing with this. We have a whole entire generation of boomers that are aging out, that are now dealing with this crap. My allergies are so bad. I'm sorry, guys. For like 3 days now, my nose and eyes have just been pouring. I'm taking Claritin, but it's not doing any good for me. Big Pharma, you didn't help me out here, man. We're going to talk about Big Pharma today because I finished watching Painkiller over on Netflix, and oh my gosh, it pissed me off. It enraged me. It made me sad. It flashed back to, times in my own life. So when we get there, we'll talk about it. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to start with Biden. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the election. And then we'll talk about the fire, the Malibu fire, and the Oregon fire. There's an Oregon fire going on right now that they're evacuating. And so, the normal. I got a few conspiracies on the deck, too. We'll figure that out. Good morning, Gregory Walker. Jim, stop by. Good to see you. Skaroo, good to see you. Skaroo Google. That's a good name. Skaroo Google. Yes, screw Google. Okay. Impeach Biden now. Let's see. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask why these two are not in prison. We know why they're not in prison, Oz. Oz dropped that one on the deck to us. We know why they're not in prison. The least don't put each other in prison. Are you serious? Unless you're Donald Trump. I think they really want to put Donald Trump in prison, but I guess we'll see about that. I mean, this crime family is insane. We have the same DA who made the deal, the sweetheart deal that fell through for Hunter being appointed the special counsel. What? Such shit livery going on, right? They're not going to do anything to Biden. Come on. We know better. They barely did anything to Trump. I had to bring this. Did you guys know we have a new candidate that's kind of in the race, but kind of not in the race? Have you seen Dean Phillips? Oh my God, this guy. I watched, let's see, his whole entire interview over at Meet the Press with Upchuck Todd yesterday morning. And the whole thing was just cringe. Why do the Democrats have this guy out there? I don't even know. He's not pushing back against anything. And he's just saying common sense shit that we all know. But at the end of the day, he's still a Democrat. So let's hear from Upchuck Todd.
Welcome back. President Biden currently faces just two minor Democratic challengers. Robert Kennedy Jr., he has a famous name, but he's a lawyer and a vaccine skeptic whose candidacy has been boosted by people like Steve Bannon and financed in part by MAGA donors.
Oh, no.
Not. Then there's Marianne Williamson. You may remember her from 2020. She's a self-help author and was on the debate stage briefly in 2020.
Just say she's Oprah's
Cornel
friend.
West is vying for the Green Party nomination and could pull votes from the left. And West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin is flirting with an independent run and may leave the party to do that. And now Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips is calling for a more competitive Democratic primary, saying voters don't want a coronation, they want a competition. Phillips, who is in his third term representing suburban Minneapolis, let me tell you a little bit about him. He lost his father in Vietnam. After business school at the University of Minnesota, Mr. Phillips joined the family business, Phillips Distilling. He went on to help build Talenti Gelato.
I'll never eat
into a
Talenti
top-selling
again.
Gelato brand, and also opened Penny's Coffee, a small business in the Twin Cities. And he is, like I said, in his third term. Phillips has denounced, by the way, the no labels attempt to fill a third-party ticket, but he has called for serious Democratic primary challengers to President Biden. And last week, he met with Democratic donors in New York about the race, and potentially entering it himself if no one else does. Congressman Phillips, welcome to Meet the Press.
Good to be with you,
If I sum this up right, you are not interested in being a candidate for president technically yourself right now, or are you?
That's a fair
Technically,
statement.
no.
Okay. What I'm technically and legitimately doing is representing. I'm a representative, and I'm representing what I believe to be the majority of the country that wants to turn the page. Tired of the meanness and the fear-mongering of Donald Trump. I would like to see Joe Biden, a wonderful and remarkable man, pass the torch, cement this extraordinary legacy.
You don't want him to run for re-election.
I believe what's in the best interest of the country. And by the way, this is not how everybody thinks, but I do believe a majority wants to move on. I hear from way too many people. Now, this is
But not
the
with
news
you.
was that I was meeting with donors. The fact is, I listen to normal Americans every day, and my own feelings. And
Is
the
this all
fact
about
is,
age?
This is no. This is about how people feel. By the way, it's not about what's real all the time. It's about how people feel. People want to turn the page. I think that's fair to say. As a Democrat, I adore Joe Biden. He saved this country. He can cement his legacy. My real call to action right now is not about me. The call to action is to ask the president to pass the torch.
To pass the torch. I didn't bring you guys the whole interview because it's just disgusting. It's him licking Biden's ass and kind of calling the Democrats out. Well, people want a fair primary. They want a challenge. They want to know that somebody's not being coronated, that they're actually being elected. We would literally have to revamp the whole entire primary system from state to state in order to do that. The Democrats have got it in the bag. It doesn't matter what state they're in. You know, they control their own primaries. A lot of people don't realize that. They think that elections are controlled by the Secretary of State and the auditors from county to county. But no, it's up to the Democrats to throw their own primary, right? The only requirements are that they actually have candidates to get on the general ballot for a general election. So when it comes to primaries, I was shocked at the primary system in my county. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. They only do it once every 4 years. And they actually, under Obama, I don't even think they did that because he was coronated. So, I mean, literally, they don't know what they're doing. They get we got the mail-in ballots. I remember being handed, because I was the precinct captain for my area or whatever. I got handed an envelope full of absentee ballots before the primary. I'm not even kidding. And I was like, what the hell? And there was like 36 of them in there for Bernie, and there was like 40 for Hillary, right? And so our little area, we ended up flipping a coin to get delegates. I know that. But so it's the way the delegate selection goes. And why are delegates important? They're important if you go to a contested convention. But we're never going to have a contested convention inside the Democratic Party unless it's engineered and rigged to be that way, right? We could have had a contested under Bernie Sanders. We had more than enough ample support and proof that we had the right to overturn that primary in 2016. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. I think they took Bernie in a back room and said, we're going to tell the world about how you used money for this and for money for that. And we're going to go after your wife. So you're going to shut up and you're going to fall in line. And guess what? Bernie shut up and fell in line. It's true. It's true. But it's even more heart-wrenching and sickening when you see what Bernie's been up to lately. And, you know, these donations that we're talking about with Bernie, they happened this year. This is 2023. This isn't something that somebody dug up from 2021 or 2020 or 2018 or 2016. These were donations that were collected and moved, inappropriately moved, I might say, to his personal account, to his wife's personal nonprofit account. But they happened in January of this year. How crazy is that? So, you know, on Saturday, I brought you guys a Sabby Sabs clip, right? Sabby Says, we do Sabby Says every Saturday. But Sabby did such an amazing job on tearing down what Bernie Sanders has been doing. I had to bring you a little bit more of it. It's not the same clip, but I want to show you her talking about how Bernie is such a hypocrite for going after the Waltons, right? And I've got the clip. We're going to see Bernie going after the Waltons. But to take money from the Waltons after you've spent the last 8 years calling them out? Who does that? Who does that wants to save face? I mean, no ethics, no dignity. What the hell? Okay, so here's Sabby.
How would you feel? How would you guys feel if I sat here all this time saying the Waltons are corrupt and it's the billionaires, we got to get rid of the billionaires, and then you found out that I was taking, and this ain't no chump change. This is no chump change. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's just, sorry, I had to cough for a second.
Wrong one.
You can't hide it.
No.
You can't make this up. Now, a lot of times people make fun of the New York Post, but they did their work on this. They did their due diligence. I'm just going to keep it real. $200,000. And I'm going to tell you what this really means. You know what this means? When Bernie Sanders had those two campaigns, and when he was criticizing the corporations and billionaires and the greed, that tells you that Bernie really did not have any intentions fighting those people.
No.
How are you going to fight the people giving you money?
We knew that. Especially by 2018.
How are you going to fight back against the Walton family and they giving your organization hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah. I mean, and the saddest thing of all is Bernie didn't need them. If he would have defended democracy and if he would have done what he said he was doing, and that is start a political revolution, we proved over and over and over that we would fund him. Look at how much money we gave him in 2016 and in 2020. I mean, we weren't given as much in 2020 because he really wasn't towing the line for us, was he? No. But in 2016, anytime Bernie said, I need campaign funds, we love bombed him. Remember, $27, $27, $27. So how many people on Social Security gave their last $27 out of their bank account or went without food for a day because they needed to give Bernie money? I know I did. I was broke as shit. Oh, I'm always broke as shit, but 2016, I was really broke back then. And what am I doing? I'm taking $5 and sending it to Bernie, $20 sending it to Bernie. I mean, I was traveling around the country trying, supporting Bernie. It's insane. You all did. We all did, right? We bought into Bernie's bullshit. I'm starting a political revolution. I went to Philadelphia thinking that I need to be there to support a contested convention. We seriously thought that we had the groundwork for a contested convention. We were going to do it. But no, and you're absolutely right. Screw Google. Bernie Sanders, they took him in a back room. They beat the shit out of him, obviously, right? Oh, I fell in the shower. That's what he told us. And they said, we're going to go after your wife. We're going to go after your family. We're going to shut you down. And he fell in line. And ever since that day, we haven't had that warrior that we thought that Bernie was, right? Because he was going to change it all. He was fighting for the actual people of this country. Fuck, at this point, I think Trump was fighting for his base more than Bernie was. Because every time Bernie could have supported us, he didn't. Like, let's talk about it. With throwing chairs. Remember the Nevada primary? Where they just voice voted them out, had the cops come in and escort him out and shut it down. And then Rachel Maddow and her little cronies went on TV and said, we were throwing chairs. We were violent. But did Bernie ever say a word? No. Did Bernie ever defend his base? No. Is there a time in 2016 that Bernie ever defended his base? No. I mean, we should have seen it. It was plain as day. It was plain as day. But you know what? My heart was involved and I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to believe that there was somebody who was going to fight to save the future for our grandkids and our kids. But it's not Bernie Sanders. And I mean, if those campaign donations and his shady shit, and you know, the sad thing is Bernie's not making the money that he used to make. So all that money, the hundreds of millions of dollars that we sent him from 2016 to 2021, we'll just say 2021, where the fuck did it go? Where did it go? Who did it go to? All the hardworking, poor Americans who sent Bernie money. I want to know where that money went. Well, we know a huge chunk of it went to Act Blue, right? Act Blue. The Dems mechanism for raising money. They got a couple of new ones too now, let me tell you. I played around with their apps because I did a little canvassing not too long ago for them. And I do that stuff just to stay up on what the hell they're doing. But, you know, what a hypocrite. Oh, my God, what a hypocrite. So here's Bernie. This was 2001 or 2021. So not that long ago. You know, he's taking on big bad Waltons. The same people that are giving him money.
We call this meeting to order, and let me thank Ranking Member Lindsey Graham and the other members.
Oh, yeah, thank Lindsey Graham, definitely.
For being with us in person or on video. I would also like to thank the many witnesses who will be testifying today, most of whom who will be joining us remotely because of this pandemic. I want to call this hearing to order in order to discuss a very simple, yet I believe profound question. And that question is this: why should the taxpayers of our country, many of whom are struggling economically as a result of the pandemic,
give me money,
be subsidizing the starvation wages being paid at some of the largest and most profitable corporations in America. That's the simple question. Why should working people be subsidizing some of the wealthiest families and largest corporations in America because of the starvation wages they pay their workers? And let me be very clear. The largest welfare recipient in America happens to be the wealthiest family in America, the Walton family, a family that owns the largest corporation in America, Walmart. This is a family that is worth over $200 billion. It is a family that has become $50 billion wealthier since March of 2020, during the worst public health crisis in over 100 years. This corporation that they own, Walmart, made over $15 billion in profit last year alone. And yet, despite this massive family wealth, despite these very high corporate profits, Walmart pays wages so low that tens of thousands of their employees are forced to rely on public assistance in order to survive.
Okay, we've heard enough of Bernie's hypocrisy. And, you know, there'll be those people out there. They are out there, the Bernie 2024s, who are like, well, that's even better because he takes their money and then he talks bad about them. He goes after them. He's trying. You know, how was he supposed to know they were wrapped up in a super PAC that he took money from? There's always an excuse to protect Bernie. There always has been. I used to do it. I used to fucking do it. I don't do it anymore. They're all fakers. All fakers. There is 545 people in charge of our country. That's how many people we give the entire, you know, for millions of us. You guys decide. You guys know best. You are the arbiters of truth and justice. And, you know, Bernie's just one of them. And yeah, one does not simply get over election fraud. No. You know, the Trumpers, they weren't even allowed to say that there was fraud, right? I mean, we took 2 strikes on Beauty and the Boomer channel for telling you guys that in the last 3 years. I think you're allowed to say it now, but I don't. But still, you know, we were screaming about it before them. We were screaming about it in 2016 because if you have a rigged primary system, then the candidates that you go into the general with were not the ones that were picked, right? Therefore, it's not real. It's a coordination. And I'm not even playing the game this time around. I don't even know if we're going to have a game this time around. I really don't. I really don't. For the first time in my entire life, I think, wow, they could really screw this up. Yeah, I know. Convo's live, guys. Go ahead. It's okay. You want to stick around and hang out with me, or you want to go hang out with Convo? I will definitely be over there later checking out what they're talking about. So thanks for joining me on this Monday morning. And tell them Chanda sent you. Tell them the trailer park. Speaking of that, I brought you guys a Fee Says because, you know, I love my brothers and sisters over at the trailer or at the Convo Couch. They're doing an amazing job. So, yeah, let's hear from Fee because we don't get a lot of RT in the U.S. anymore, right?
European gas prices have jumped nearly 40%, making it the largest spike this summer. The rise comes amid preparations for a worker strike at LNG plants in Australia, which now serves as an alternative to sanctioned cheap Russian exports. These sanctions have also triggered a price surge in the oil sector following joint production cuts by the industry's powerhouses, Saudi Arabia and Russia. The cost of one barrel has now surpassed its price in January this year. Meanwhile, the CEO of one of Germany's leading energy providers has said that the EU will face a tough winter.
We have to be clear that the structural change due to the Russian war against Ukraine and the drop out of Russian gas for supply of Europe is going to stay, and therefore the crisis is not over. In the long-term outlook, we are modeling a structural increase of prices because the cheap Russian pipeline gas is gone. So there we have roughly a doubling to tripling of prices on the gas side. And that is a fact that is not going to go away anymore, I'm afraid, not in the short term.
International politics professor Mora Aslan says the European energy crisis is a result of its failed attempt to shift away from fossil fuels and the backfiring of sanctions against Moscow.
once you sanctify Russia, that's for sure there will be consequences, especially directly having an impact on European energy market. The European energy market is dependent on the foreign sources like 55.5% as of 2021. And this percentage is increasing on annual basis. On the other hand, the Europeans had started a sort of transformation, like having hydrogen-based energy and renewables, replacing fuel, oil or gas, that means fossil fuels. But at the end of the day, or at the end of the decade, let me say, it's not a success story. When you sanctify Russia, it's very clear that there's a negative impact. And once there happens incidents in Africa, for instance, Sahel region, or else, the supply of energy resources directly feeding the European industry will be in danger of being short of answering the demand. Yes, then we have to expect a negative impact in the short term and medium term.
Yeah, Denver Attaway, I agree. Gosh, it's kind of like the EU is being sanctioned, right? Sanctions are backfiring. We have been saying for years that sanctions only hurt the most vulnerable of a country. And in this case, it's backfiring and hurting our most vulnerable allies, right? Do you know that Germany was the #1 economy in the EU, and Russia has now surpassed them and is now the 5th largest economy in the world? All of this happened under crippling sanctions. Remember, we were going to shut Russia down with sanctions. Well, that's not what's happening. Our allies are the ones that are being crippled, and winter's coming. And it's going to be a cold winter. And they want a cold winter, right? Because then the people get pissed and then they want to go to war. And then they're more supportive of, yes, shut Russia down because they're hurting us. That's exactly what they want. And of course, the U.S. is going to support this shit and push it because, hey, it's our plan. Do you guys see this Russian propaganda that dropped? Oh, my gosh. All right, this is Ukrainian propaganda against Russia. I love the sunflowers in the background, but check this out. I got questions.
Американці прислали мені джіп, тож росіяни, краще ви тоді біжіть, бо ЗСУ прибуде в ту же мить, бо ЗСУ прибуде вас там бить. Гадаю, ця орда була друга світу, тепер з них ловлю прикол, ліга сміху, от би попити живчик так, де ти дупив, як бачиш живчик вже допив, ну а тут і ти.
Why do the Russians have such big asses? Is that a thing? Like, what is that? Is that a thing? Yeah, I love how they put a face on the drone too. Yeah, I came across that. That was just crazy. I've been saying it. I keep saying it. We're in a Cold War again. Obviously, we're fighting a proxy war, and I don't remember which diplomat it was this week that said, "What does it matter? We're not sending American lives, so we're winning as long as it's Ukrainians who are dying over there." What does it matter? I was listening to Garland Nixon this morning. If you want a comprehensive breakdown of what is going on in the Ukraine, I advise you to follow Garland. Garland does a great podcast daily out there, just letting you know the propaganda and bullshit that's being sold by our State Department. And the #1, thing that they're selling right now is this counteroffensive. But it's not a counteroffensive when you're getting your asses completely handed to you. And they are so bad that CNN even had to admit it. I mean, I brought you guys a clip last week of CNN, admitting how bad it's going. So it's bad. Well, let's talk about the U.S. A lot of stuff going on yesterday. Do you see that one where the house blew up? I want to say in Pennsylvania. I didn't bring that one. That one's crazy. But this one was reports are saying a MiG-23 fighter jet has reportedly crashed into an apartment building. Upon pilot's ejections, officials are asking everyone to avoid this area. Story is still developing. And I found the video to this. Check this out. This is an air show over Van Buren Township, Michigan.
Oh my God! I don't know. Oh no! Oh no! No!
See both pilots.
No! 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 No!
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
They ejected.
Oh
Holy shit! Joseph's got it on. Crash over us, dude.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Plane just went down.
So, crazy enough, nobody was hurt. The pilots were rescued. They were picked up out of the water, and it crashed next to an apartment building. If it would have hit the apartment building, there would have been a lot of casualties, but apparently nobody was hurt. What kind of miracle is that? That's crazy. What the hell are we doing flying MiGs? Aren't MiGs Russian jets? I mean, I grew up watching, Top Gun. Like, I was like, okay, what's going on? But that's not the only crazy shit that was happening this week. Of course, the Iowa State Fair is going on, and the Republicans stormed it. Did you guys see this? I think they were waiting for Trump to show up. I don't know if he actually did or not. But in the meantime, some of the Republicans decided to get out there and, show their lyrical stylings off in the form of Eminem's 8 Mile, which is hilarious when you know that Trump and Eminem hates Trump. He has one of the worst cases of TDS I've ever seen. But here, let's check this out.
He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's joking how everybody's joking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, plow, snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. He's so mad, but he won't give up. He won't back to these notes. He's so mad, but he's so.
Probably the first and only time that you will see somebody in slacks rapping to Eminem's 8 Mile, Lose Yourself. But yeah, Eminem's got a serious case of can't fucking stand the right. So it's even funnier that the right is actually using his songs. The irony of it. Gary's toxic shit too. Yeah. That was just funny. Keeping an eye on these fools. Let's see, what do we got? U.S. offers to release Taliban funds in exchange for escalation with Iran. Oh, shock me. Shock me not. Does that shock you guys? That doesn't shock me. I mean, we create them. We fund them. We know that. Even they tell you that. Hillary will even tell you that. But they just don't want you to pay attention. They want you to keep looking at Trump. Trump, 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 Trump. Trump won't sign a pledge to support the other Republicans in 2024 who said that they would support him. Oh, like what we want RFK Jr. to do with the Democrats, just say that he is not going to support Biden in the general, and he would pick up a hell of a lot more. It was J-Rock. He would pick up a hell of a lot more support if, come on, Cam, we're not going to if he would sign that. Come on. Okay. Apparently my internet's crapping out. I don't know. Maybe I need to get away from the camera. I don't know. But yeah, the J-Rock comment, you killed me with that. If RFK Jr. would say, I'm not supporting Biden in the general, he would get a huge push from independents. Those who I consider myself an independent. I'm on the left, and I was a Democrat. I do not consider myself a liberal or a Democrat any longer, or even a progressive for that matter. But the fact that he's inside the Democratic Party playing in their primary, it totally turns me off. I won't have anything to do with it. I've already been ripped off, duped, sheepdog, gaslit, and herd back into the Democratic Party. I ain't doing it again. So I know there's always the newest, youngest generation to do it. So yeah, Trump, he's not going to play the game. And the Republicans really want Trump gone. The neocons want Trump gone, right? J-Rock, you got it too, Vic. Okay, so J-Rock, if you don't know who J-Rock is a character on Trailer Park Boys. And he's this white wannabe rapper dude. J-Rock was always one of my favorite characters on Trailer Park Boys. Okay, and he did look like J-Rock. Well, happy birthday, Art Cassette World. Happy birthday. We get a lot of birthday. We got a lot of summer birthdays. Every day it seems like we have a birthday here. Well, I hope you have a peace-filled, family, joy, happy day. All the things that make us happy, right? Let's see, what is this? This is Macron and his French government. This is the finger sign representing the Eiffel Tower as a logo for the Olympics in 2024. Let's see. Are we sure that this is just a finger sign and not them throwing some Illuminati gang signs? Come on, play. Is that the theme to Harry Potter? Wow. I don't know, guys. Was that the sign for the 2024 Olympics, or was that the all-seeing Illuminati eye? They just want you to think that it is Olympic gang symbol. So, like I told you guys, the Olympics have a ton of symbolism in them. So maybe, I don't know. It's Comrade Ken's birthday too. Oh my gosh, you guys are just having a birthday day. Well, happy birthday to you too. A lot of August birthdays. Why is that? Because it's cold in January. Is that why? December and January. That's why there's so many babies born in August. Rest in peace, Norm Macdonald. Now, this might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this last story should die. I just had to bring that because I love him. God, what happened to comedy? It's trying to come back. I hope it'll come back. It was censored so hard for so long, right? Finger signal to the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, that's funny. Good one. Oh, this is the World Economic Forum talking about what they want to do to you. Let's check it out. Oh, don't worry. The elites, they get along. It's just us useless eaters that are the problem, basically.
A few years ago, the Edelman survey showed us that the good news is the elite across the world trust each other more and more.
Oh, that is
so we can come together and design and do beautiful things together. The bad news is that in every single country they were polling, the majority of people trusted that elite less. So we can lead, but...
Wow. We can lead, but the people don't like us and they don't trust us. So basically, she was saying, we did a poll, and for the first time in history, the elites all get along and they all have got one driven message. But the problem is the useless eaters don't like us. What can we do? I guess we'll just depopulate, get rid of a bunch of them, and then we won't be a problem. Okay, let's talk about the fire. I hate talking about these fires. You know, we covered the Paradise Fire a couple of years ago. I should go watch that coverage just to look for the similarities between this Maui fire and Paradise Fire, because there's a lot of similarities. There really, really is. How hot it was, how fast it was, the way that it moved, and it burnt cars and metal and houses and brick, but it didn't burn plastics and trees and plants. I mean, it's the craziest shit, right? Common sense tells you when there's a major fucking fire like that, it's going to burn the wood. It's going to burn the trees. It's going to melt the traffic cones, not the cars. I mean, and they're lying to us about everything. So let's get into this series. I think there's 5 or 6 different video clips and slides for this. Some of it you guys have seen, some of it you might not have seen. And it's all shocking and it's all heartbreaking, but they're lying to us. They are 100% lying to us, just like they did with Paradise Fire, about the casualty numbers, how it started, why it started, when it started. I mean, they lie to us about all of it. So believe what you want, either that it's just a natural occurrence or that this was, done on purpose. So photos still taken from one of the videos of a plane flying over Lahaina the night of the 8th. what natural fire burns in a perfect ring? You can see two hot spots and a circular trail between them. And somebody tweeted back and said, this, yes, is a natural pattern. As a jumping amber lands in a new combustible area, it consumes the origins and burns outward to the unburned combustible area, creating circular fire fronts. Now, I do know that that's true. You guys know my grandpa was a firefighter. When you grow up, if you've ever grown up with somebody who works for the fire department or as a firefighter, they're very vigilant. My grandfather, we had escape routes. We knew what to do to get out of the house. I mean, we all got smoke detectors for Christmas. Like grandpa would sit there and tell you the horror stories, like the woman who smoked on her couch and the house burned down and then he stepped through her chest when they went into the house to, shit like that just scares the shit out of you, right? So I've always just had this thing with fire. I don't know what it is. But check this out. Directed energy weapons, they're real. This is the patent for them. Science and Tech Spotlight. This was just from a couple of months ago. Oh, that's not real. That's a conspiracy. They don't have those. They don't have direct energy weapons. The hell they don't. And they've had them for a long effing time. You guys hear about the one that they say they have in the Antarctic? It's the mega one. And they say every time they fire that one up, it causes earthquakes. Like all the earthquakes we've been seeing in Indonesia are because of this mega directed energy weapon that they supposedly have in the Antarctic, right? There's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there. Just depends. So I wanted to bring you guys just a couple of different footage just so you guys, because videos starting to finally get out. They didn't have internet. Power is still out. They're saying it's going to take weeks for the power to get restored for a lot. Yeah, HARP. We could talk about HARP, but HARP's just Alaska's university just doing some research. That's nothing. That's what we get told. So, okay, let's watch some of these heartbreaking videos. This is the first one. These are people literally standing in the ocean for 8 hours trying to avoid the fire.
Shit. You're gonna be okay, Milo. Holy fuck.
Close that window.
Shit. Both sides, to the left and the right, are on fire. White smoke starting to come, which means the fire's starting to die out. Fucking scary. Almost rescued.
That is so insane. I can't even imagine. I couldn't fathom what it would be like to go through something like that. You guys saw the wind. It doesn't matter where the spark came from, whether it be from a directed energy weapon or somebody discarding a fucking cigarette. With that kind of wind, there's no way to even get it under control. But why was it so hot? A normal forest fire doesn't burn hot enough to melt cars. So let's check this out. My source in Maui, Storm Chaser, said that the death toll is close to 1,000, said it's so sad that they can't identify people. They're transporting bodies into the buildings to shield them from the view. One building alone has about 500 bodies, said it looked like the Holocaust. And yeah, so right now the official death toll is under 100. Like 93, I think I heard this morning, or 98 is the official. And there's over 1,000 that they say are missing. But when you listen to the interviews and you watch the videos of people that are out there, they're telling you bullshit. It is bad. There's bodies everywhere. It smells like death, like, here, let's check it out. Here's another video.
Okay, guys, it's Friday, August 11th, 2023. and I'm walking around Lahaina a couple days after this catastrophic fire, and you can see there's X's in front of hundreds of houses here, hundreds or thousands of cars. I don't know what the count is. I don't know what's going on here any more than what I see, because we can't get on the internet and we don't have any power. But I believe those X's mean they've searched for bodies. And this fire was so hot that all of the wheels of the cars have melted. All the aluminum has melted.
Look at that.
You can see it just like water. It ran down the gutters in places where there's just molten aluminum everywhere. So I don't know how hot a fire has to get to do that, because I can't search for anything on the internet, but let me know in the comments. And you know, one other thing I'll say is, I think on one of the neighborhoods I was walking through yesterday, I commented that it smelled like a fireworks show, and you know, just more intense. But that is not what it smells like here. Here it smells like death. It smells like dead bodies is what it smells like. I mean, it's unimaginable. I mean, anyone who's ever smelled a rotting animal carcass, that is what it smells like when I'm walking around here. And you know, it's like this for miles. And I don't know what it looks like if an atomic bomb hits a city, but I couldn't imagine anything being much worse than this. I mean, the devastation here. This was a fully functioning neighborhood. This was like a normal, you know, kids playing basketball in the street, like normal place 3 days ago, something like that. So
I had to cut the video off here because up ahead there are a lot of dead animal bodies, which is a pretty horrific scene. I don't know if that's the type of stuff I can even show on TikTok. I can't look it up at the moment. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments your thoughts on that, and I can edit the rest of the footage when we get power back.
I mean, it speaks for itself. The smell of dead bodies is the smell of dead bodies, right? I mean, they lied to us about Paradise. We knew they lied to us. We had the videos. We had the testimony from the people who went through Paradise, who were walking down the road, and literally there's, you know, hundreds of cars burned out with bodies in them. And they just scrubbed that shit from the internet. You know, they did that to us. What's another where they just scrubbed the video? Vegas. The Vegas shooting. Remember, the videos were all gone. I mean, we have so many, everybody has a phone in their hands now. So when something happens, you just whip that phone out and you're recording it. It's on the internet. And then Google just takes it down, right? So there's a problem because tourists are going there. I mean, there is no power, there is no food, there is no water. There's people who don't know how they're going to survive. They're trying to get aid in there, and there's goddamn fucking tourists going there. Why am I not shocked? I'm not shocked at all. Let's hear this testimony from a woman who is there trying to, you know, she lives there. She's trying to help people.
If you don't know what's going on in Maui, we are just being completely devastated right now. The last 4 days, I've been non-stop just working around the clock, trying to get supplies for people, trying to get the supplies to the people working at the shelters. It's just, I'm safe and my family is safe and my dogs are safe. Last night they said the death toll is 80. It's not correct. They're not reporting it correctly. I don't know why they're not reporting it correctly. There's hundreds, at least 600, if not thousands of people who are dead in the streets, floating in the ocean. There's over 3,000 homes that have been burned to the ground. There's no help here on the ground. All it is residents pulling together. My whole entire truck is full of supplies right now. Just residents going to the store, going to Walmart, going to Costco, buying as much as they can, driving it straight into Lahaina. I went there last night, and there was a fire that started, and we got so scared we weren't able to drop off all the supplies. But there was flames that we saw, and we were like, we just have to get out of here. It's so awful. The people who were able to evacuate Lahaina and get out, they're at the shelters, and the shelters are just a mess right now. They're so disorganized. We don't have anyone from any organizations helping. I think Red Cross is here, but it's just so unorganized. No one knows what we need. It's awful. And the people that are still in Lahaina that were not able to evacuate, they don't have gas in their cars, they can't leave. Some people are just holed up in their houses waiting for someone to come knock on their door and give them supplies. They don't even know supplies are like being distributed at the docks in Lahaina. And it's getting so bad in Lahaina. I never thought this was gonna happen, but there's people going into like other people's homes trying to steal their stuff, like trying to, I heard that the people are being held at like gunpoint over there. I'm doing everything that I possibly can. I've literally been working nonstop the past 4 days, but it's like, where are the trained officials? We're not trained to do this. Like, this is... I haven't gotten a break, and I've just been like, I have to help.
Okay, I think you guys get the gist of it. I don't know. I guess things are so chaotic she doesn't realize her shirt fell off. But, you know, the point of it is that she's crying for the rest of the video, asking where's FEMA? Where is anybody to help us? Why is there nobody coming in with donations of water and, you know, things to distribute? Why is it just volunteers? Why is there no government response? And where's Biden? Where's Biden? Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, he got no shits to give about Hawaii. I saw this morning he was approached by the press and asked to give a comment about the Hawaii fires. And he said, no comment. I got no comment because I'm busy sending money to Ukraine. I can give no shits about fucking Hawaii or the people of this country. But we see this over and over and over with Biden. I mean, East Palestine, totally poisoned, complete accident. No response. I mean, we've had emergency after emergency. And yeah, he did declare an emergency the other day. That just means that they can release FEMA, right? But FEMA's so busy working on other shit. It's disgusting all the way around. You're not going to get help when there is disaster in your area. Directed energy weapons coming of age. Honeywell Aerospace, this was on their webpage. Directed energy is a breakthrough technology whose time has come. The U.S. Army confirms in June that is accelerating efforts to field a directed energy weapon prototype by 2022. First up in the multi-mission high-energy laser, a 50 kilowatt retrofit to a modified Stryker vehicle, which is expected to be operational by 2023, right? I mean, they tell you what they're doing. This is what I'm always talking about. They always tell you what they're doing. They have to. That's the rules of the universe. And yeah, it seems to be fully operational from what we can see and just how, you know, how they've been using it. Here's a aerial look. Let's take a aerial look of the fires. And it's almost shocking that some of the most expensive properties and hotels, they didn't burn. Imagine that. It's so hit and miss. It just jump over one complex and get another complex. Just doesn't make sense. Turn this down a little. You don't have to. Look at it. It's all green right there. Green. Oprah's place got spared. Oprah has 2,000 miles or 2,000 acres, and don't worry, she's going to give money later. Oh, the good thing is spared those waterfront properties. I got saved. How does the building behind it burn to the ground and all the buildings around it, but that building is just fine? It just doesn't make sense to me. Make it make sense. We always say that, right? Make it make sense. But, you know, we always talk about who's the worst at supplying this type of shit. I've been screaming about Honeywell for years, guys. Honeywell, stop buying Honeywell products. Stop putting them in your homes. divest. We have to divest. We have to pull our 401ks out of these fuckers. We got to stop giving them the power. We give them the power. We just don't even know we give them the power. So did you guys know that that is going to be the first smart island? It's funny how this shit always goes down. Wuhan was going to be the first smart city in China. And, they cleared it out. Now it's going to be the smart city. Well, now they have an island that they can rebuild in their image and set it up to be controlled by, that's right, AI. Artificial intelligence is going to run the whole city now when they rebuild.
No matter where you go around the world, reducing our impact on the environment and decreasing our dependence on fossil fuels is on everyone's mind. But how do you do it in a way that's going to benefit the most people? That was the question Hitachi asked before initiating the Jump Smart Maui project. This initiative demonstrates how electric vehicles, smart grids, and renewable energy like wind and sun can benefit Maui's residents, and it underlines the positive impact that Hitachi is making on the environment.
It's our future.
Oh, good thing Hitachi's going to come save us and wire the whole island. Yes, so, it's funny that these places that burn to the ground, take Paradise or here, they're very sought after properties. Remember when Malibu burned to the ground a couple of years ago and it was just like this? I think Malibu was probably the first time we saw something like this, but it's always in areas where the elites want property. Why is that? Call me conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking, why is that? Seems kind of odd to me. The chemtrails are getting a bit blatant. Die cunts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we're starting to get people to understand that they are genetically modifying our weather and have been for a very, 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 very long time. Now, I always bring you guys homework. You have to watch this entire video. I'm going to drop it in all the chats. But this gives you the history of weather modification. And I think you guys will be shocked. I was shocked. And I know a lot about it and how fucking far back it goes. It goes back to 1700s, 1800s, definitely the 1900s. And I think, they were pretending and practicing and they actually got control over the last 100 years. So here's just a little history. Previous presidents have been talking about it. Lyndon B. Johnson talked about it. Kennedy talked about it. They knew what the military's goal was to get control of the weather.
Really? To change the weather? That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
Lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing. Alleged to, right. Yeah. Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events in agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
For as science investigates the natural environment, it also modifies it. And that modification may have incalculable consequences for evil as well as for good.
A man by the name Thomas Frey, an American futurist and celebrity speaker, once stated, "He who controls the weather will control the world. He who controls gravity will control the universe. He who controls time will never be around." In terms of having the ability to control gravity or time is something more abstract to imagine than having the ability to control the Earth's natural weather. Weather control, also known as climate control, also known as weather modification, is the act of intentionally manipulating or altering the weather. This is a topic I've been wanting to investigate more ever since I woke up to the reality of HAARP, which simply stands for High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program, and on the chemtrail phenomenon. Knowing from the research I've conducted, it is no surprise to me that those who sit behind closed doors, who control our banking systems, who control the mainstream media, and for the most part the whole world, would hold such capabilities and techniques to control the weather. So put on your seatbelts as we uncover the truth, purposes, the origins, and more behind weather modification.
Okay, now I have dropped that in the chat, so let me make sure Kik got it. How's it going, Kik? I see you over there, Dingo. This is it's like 25 minutes, and this kid, because he sounds like a kid to me, did his research, and he really lays it out for you. The history of it, how we weaponized it, what wars we've used it in, Operation Popeye. Do you guys know about Operation Popeye? Come on, there's a lot of operations to know about. Operation Popeye, of course, is one of the very first times that we controlled the weather during war. So we're told anyways. But you guys have got the link now. You guys can watch it later. I sat there watching the whole thing. I was like, God, everybody needs to see this whole thing. But I'll just bring it to you guys to watch in your spare time. Did you guys happen to notice? I told you guys, I warned you over a week ago that solar flares were coming and they were going to be big. And guess what? They were. Let's take a look at this article. So a solar flare just knocked out radio across the U.S. and more are on the way. Let me see if I can bring this article in. We can take a look at it. Because did you guys hear about this? Nobody's really talking about it. I hadn't heard about it. Come on. There we go. Solar flare. Let's check this out. Okay. So you got to scroll back up. A solar flare just knocked out radio across the U.S. and more are on the way, dated August 9th, 2023. A wild 2 days for the sun are being felt around the earth as the effects of its tantrumous lash across America, the Gulf of Space. On August 7th, the sun unleashed a powerful X-class flare that caused radio blackouts across North America. Who still listens to radio? I mean, I do when I'm listening to Misty, but let's see. Space weather forecasts are predicted of a combination of cannabis and a cardinal mass ejection, a CME. That's what they call them. And we told you guys we're hitting a 11-year high in solar activity. Apparently, the sun does these cycles. We have this new, they've got the solar space. What do you call it? Lab. Yeah, it's the sun lab. And they just take readings from the sun. So not very often do we see X-class flares, but yeah, we definitely are seeing them now. Like August emitted. I'm trying to figure out where was radio blacked out. Nevertheless, it hit Earth with such power that the radio blackout hit the North American continent and Pacific Ocean. No radio blackouts have been reported. So where were they? Did you guys film them? Did anybody? I didn't hear anything about radio being out, so it must not have been that bad. Did it go out in your area? But I'm going to keep an eye on it because I've been telling you guys, I think that something big could be coming from the sun, and very well could be. But we're never told the truth, so who knows? Who knows? Let's do some culture war. I got a JP Sears here. This is CBDC's digital currency coming to a bank near you.
I'm getting pretty excited about the impending doom of CBDCs. CBDCs are those new draft picks of Team LGBTQIA+? Shockingly not. It's central bank digital currency. It's coming whether you like it or not. Personally, I like it. That definitely doesn't sound like a part of a globalist takeover. What are central bank digital currencies? Well, you know how people love cryptocurrencies because they're decentralized and they give people complete control of their money? Yeah. Well, CBDCs are like cryptocurrency, but instead of being decentralized, they're as centralized as you can possibly get. Oh, so it's like cryptocurrency in the sense that it's the complete opposite of it. Yes. And is your digital currency controlled by blockchain technology so nobody can mess with it? No, it'll be controlled by the Federal Reserve so the government can always mess with it. That sounds amazing. Way better than crypto where everything is decentralized and you're the steward of your own money. And I assume CBDCs will be backed by gold, making them a digital representation of something of actual value? No, CBDCs are backed by the US dollar, which is not backed by gold.
I have directed Secretary Connolly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets.
So CBDCs are backed with nothing of value, which is also backed with nothing of value. Exactly. Do you know what a pyramid scheme is? Absolutely not, but I'm really excited to go along with digital currencies. I mean, you're really talking me into them. Oh, and get this. You know how cryptocurrencies can be really volatile where the value of them can go up and down? A lot of uncertainty? Yes. Well, digital currencies are better than that because the government will control them and they're always doing things to devalue the US dollar, which means your digital currencies will do nothing but go down, which gives you certainty. So no more stress about the volatility of cryptocurrencies. Now, with this centralization of money that you speak of, does this mean that the government can monitor all your financial transactions? No, it doesn't mean the government can monitor your financial transactions. It means the government will monitor your financial transactions. Well, I guess that's a good thing, and if that's just all they do, well... Oh, it sounds like they'll be doing more than that. Yep. Can't wait to hear what else. Yeah, with CBDCs in place, it also means they'll be able to freeze your account or adjust your balance at any time, preventing you from using your own money and even taking your money from you? Yeah. I see how that could have a lot of upside. Yeah, just imagine how it could reduce domestic terrorism by punishing parents who speak up at school board meetings.
Yeah.
You don't think your son should be doing a reassignment sculpting surgery during art class? Well, your funds are frozen, terrorist! And we're taking a little something for our effort. It could also help prevent people from trying to destroy our democracy by exercising the right to free speech. Implementing CBDCs will no doubt be what saves our democracy. This system could also get our elections back on track by punishing people who vote for the wrong candidate. That would be helpful. And I assume the World Economic Forum is probably against CBDCs. No, they're for them. Oh my gosh, I am surprised by that. Yeah, the WEF says that CBDCs will be the safest digital asset available for the general public. They'll do anything to make us safer. They also say that CBDCs are a risk-free form of money that'll be guaranteed by the state. Yeah, well, we've already covered that there's no risks with CBDCs. They eliminate the people that are the risks. And the WEF says that CBDCs will improve financial inclusion. Anything done in the name of inclusion always works out super well.
If you're poor, the government's already had the ability to come in and take anything that's in your accounts, right? Try owing the government any kind of money. Owe the IRS or even owe your local state. Say you got unemployment and they decided after 2 years, you haven't been on unemployment for a year, but a year later they decide, well, we don't think that you got fired the right way or that you actually qualified. We know we sent you the money, but we want the money back and we want it back with interest. And so we're just going to go into your bank account and we're going to take it. They've been doing this shit for 20 damn years to us. This will just make it an easier path, right? They don't actually have to fill out any paperwork to grab your shit. Don't buy into CBDCs. Use cash. The less that we use cash, the less that places need to have cash, the more places are not going to have cash. And we're starting to really encounter this, right? I mean, I brought you guys videos. I bring them all the time of stores that are completely cashless now, people trying to use cash. Cash is king. Cash is what keeps the poor people moving. So use cash because you're actually helping the poor if you're using cash. I know it sucks to have to go take money out, but it's really not that bad. If you're grocery shopping, whatever, just hit that cash back button, get $100 bills in your pocket. You never know when an emergency is going to happen either. When's the next space wildfire going to come burn your community down? You're going to need some cash. So I just say it's probably best to keep cash on you at all times now. And don't trust our banks not to falter, go under. My girlfriend, her grandmother died and, she got a little bit, but the bank, it's like, oh, sorry, if you want money, you got to give us 8 days notice. We don't carry cash on us. Like, what? You're a bank. You have my money. You can see the money's in your account, but you have no money. I need to wait $8 to get cash. Yeah, invest in weed. There you go, Popeye. My problem is I'd smoke all the weed. So cash is king. Keep using cash. You have to. You have to. Let's see. Elon Musk's universe. Of course, you got PayPal and Zip2 and Solar City. You got OpenAI, The Boring Company, Neuralink, and SpaceX. And don't forget Tesla. Did I leave out Tesla? So yeah, the X platform is going to be everything, including the digital currency, because Elon is a DARPA boy who is paid and is there because the government wants him there. The military and industrial complex has made him as powerful as he is. So don't think that he is fighting for your freedom of speech. No, he is fighting to be the creator of the American version of WeChat, where we have to use it to do anything anymore. It's going to be the one app, right? So using cash is like telling the government what you're buying is none of their fucking business. Exactly. And that's another reason to use cash. Every single purchase you make and swipe that card, the government knows what you're doing. All of the data collectors who are tracking you know what you're doing when you're buying it, how you're buying it. And that's how the ads are targeted towards you, right? Your whole entire internet experience is going to be tailored to your wants and needs based on your spending habits and your metadata that they're collecting on you. And I ain't got no room to preach when it comes to Twitter or X, whatever the hell we call it nowadays, because they came and they took their $8 out of my account this week, right? Well, why are you giving him $8? Because you can't use half of the features on X unless you do that. And as a streamer, I want to be able to stream there. So, but that's all I'm giving them. I promise. That's all I'm giving them. Let's see. What is this? Case study QB. It's something case study QB. We'll check it out. We'll talk afterwards.
A Kansas police department is facing criticism after it raided the offices of a local newspaper and the home of its publisher, seizing computers and other records. Dozens of news organizations sent a letter to the police chief urging him to immediately return all of the seized materials. They say that the raid naturally raises concerns about press freedom. CNN's Polo Sandoval has more.
One press freedom group here in the United States says that the Friday raid that targeted the Marion County Record, not far from Wichita, Kansas, not only violates federal law, but also the First Amendment. Now, in terms of what we've heard from Eric Meyer, he's the co-owner of the publication, he tells CNN that the Marion County Police Department raided both his home and his publication's office last week. He adds that police seized things like computers, cell phones, and other materials. Meyer suggesting that this was all partly triggered by a story that was published mentioning Carrie Newell, the owner of a local coffee shop. Mayer explaining that he and his colleagues received a confidential tip about Newell allegedly driving without a driver's license. Rather than publish a story based on that tip, Mayer says that he consulted with an attorney and then notified local law enforcement that his newspaper, had come into contact, or at least into the possession of some possible sensitive materials. Mayer says that police then notified Newell. What followed was the issuing of a search warrant alleging violations of identity theft and authorizing the seizure of any documents pertaining to Newell. Newell, for her part, telling CNN that she was, quote, flabbergasted when she learned about the raid and denied knowing that it was even in the works. Mayer claiming that law enforcement did not provide him with much information, only handed him a copy of that search warrant. During the search, Mayer's 98-year-old mother, who was home at the time, she was there. Mayer confirming for CNN that she died earlier this weekend, and he believes that it was from stress that was brought on by that search, though an exact cause of death has not yet been confirmed. The Marion County Police Chief says that he is confident that the judicial system that is currently being questioned will eventually be, quote, vindicated. CNN has also reached out to the Marion County Magistrate, who's initially the one who signed that warrant. It is certainly a complicated story, to say the least, but albeit quite an important one to follow, as this small Kansas town is now caught in the middle of a battle over the First Amendment. Polo Sandoval, CNN, New York.
Sensitive materials, right? They don't tell you how sensitive, what it was, but when they came for Alex Jones and we did nothing, we told you. When they came for Julian Assange, we told you. Freedom of the press and free speech is dead in America. And if this doesn't prove it, I don't know what it is. Some Barney Five cop can come kick in your door because of sensitive material, right? I mean, and his poor mother has a heart attack during the raid. That's even more. I mean, she's 98 years old. I highly doubt they'll be able to pin that on the cops, but we know when you get older like that, you get upset, you get worked up, your heart's working more. Freedom of speech in America is under attack. It has been for many years, and it takes us standing up and lawful but awful. That's what Twitter's pushing, right? Linda Yaccarino is saying, is it lawful or awful? Oh, who's calling me? Hey, babe, I'm on air. I got to go. Of course it won't. That was my son. Anyways, so yeah, freedom of speech. There you go, America. Give me 2 seconds. Hey, I am live on the air. Can I call you after I get off there? I hope you can hear me because I can't hear you. Okay, I'll send him a message in a minute. Yeah, the Assange effect. Exactly what it is. Okay, this story I had to do an update for you. This is that motherfucker right there is not real. And she finally came forward, right? We knew who she was. I figured that out a month ago. Her name is Tiffany Gomez, but she finally issued a statement, but I think that she left more questions than answers with her statement. So here, let's check it out.
Hi everyone, it's me, Tiffany Gomez, probably better known as the Crazy Plane Lady, which is completely warranted. As you know, I have been unwilling to speak on the viral video, but I do finally feel that it's time. First and foremost, I want to take full accountability for my actions. They were completely unacceptable. Distressed or not, I should have been in control of my emotions, and that was not the case. My use of profanity was completely unnecessary, and I want to apologize to everyone on that plane, especially those that had children aboard. Can't imagine going through that and trying to explain to your kid what in the world just happened. We all have our bad moments, some far worse than others, and mine happened to be caught on camera for the whole world to see multiple times. Sorry, trying not to sound like Minnie Mouse. Well, it has been really comical for everyone, and I have highly enjoyed so many of the memes. On the flip side, it is very invasive and unkind, and I don't know what I would do without the love and support of my friends and family. They are loyal to a fault, and I don't know what I did to deserve them. Sorry, y'all. I hope that I can use this experience and do a little bit of good in the world, and that is what I intend to do. I hope that you guys can accept my apology and I can begin to move on with my life.
Okay, I got questions. I'm telling you right now, we want to know what motherfucker isn't real, right? She doesn't say, I was drunk and I was having a meltdown because I lost my my earbuds, or that guy freaked me out. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't explain herself at all. And I think there's a whole entire plane full of people that want an explanation why they had to deboard the plane, spend hours going through everything just to get back on the plane. She owes some people some explanations here. But honestly, reading through that feed, I think that she is trying to set it up for recognition and maybe monetization at some point for herself. She wants to cash in on her infamy, I think. And so I'm not going to be featuring her stories any longer. I mean, we wanted to know what the hell she was talking about. She obviously doesn't want to tell us what she was talking about. I brought you guys a lot of interviews of people that were on that plane. They say she was drunk. that, and she sounds like it when, I've been that drunk girl. I am that dumb drunk girl occasionally. Well, not anymore, but I used to be. And they hit that high pitch, I don't care. And that's exactly what she was doing, right? So I think that there was a substance involved in her little breakdown, but I had to play it one more time because it's so great. And then I'll retire it.
You right out, telling you right out, telling you right out, right out, right out, telling you right out, telling you right out, telling you right out, right out, right out. I don't get too fucked. 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 That motherfucker back there is not real. Not real. Not real. That motherfucker back there is not real. Not real. They either believe it or they cannot believe it. I am telling you right out. Telling you right out. Telling you right out. Right out. Right out. Telling you right out. Telling you right out. Telling you right out. Right out. Right out. I don't get too fucked. I don't get too fucked. That motherfucker back there is not real.
Okay, I lie. I probably won't retire because it's just too funny and too good. What do you think? I think I'll just save it for a rainy day. Let's see. Translation: if you're not black, stop using black gifts as your response or reactions to things. I see if it's in reference to the celebrity being discussed, but if not, just cut it out. Digital blackface shows up in ways unspoken on here. Oh my gosh. We are living in that reality. If you truly want us not to see color, this is bullshit. You don't want us to see race, this is bullshit. I mean, grow up. Grow up. It's just more culture war. And we're not doing culture wars. We're doing class war, right? They're the ones that are keeping us down, not our neighbors, not our brothers and sisters. So I ain't doing culture war anymore. I'll pass. No culture war. Thank you. This one pissed me off so bad, guys. I finished watching Painkiller on Netflix. Now, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Yes, it is a Hollywood version of the story. But honestly, as a recovering addict who literally lived through the opiate epidemic, which I don't even know how I did that, because honestly, I shouldn't be here. The amount of opiates that I took in a day, it blows doctors' minds. Like, I don't even know how you're still here. But watching that movie, and they did a really good job of showing how it tore families apart and how it started, right? It always started with you'd get hurt. And most of you guys know, my story is out there. You can go watch the old To Hell and Backs, the Accidental Activist. I am very loud and vocal about how I got my addiction and who handed it to me and where I got it from, right? So I started out with a knee injury in the late 90s because I was a dancer. I ended up having 7 surgeries on my knee, a magnitude of other surgeries. Then I broke my other ankle. I was literally on crutches for years. And this is at the height of the opiate epidemic. And I am being handed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pills a month by a man I trust, a man who is supposed to be taking care of me, who I go to for my best interest health-wise, right? And he's telling me the same shit that is in this movie. He's saying, when the time comes, we'll just step you off. We'll just wing you down. That's how we do it. It's called the step off method, right? We don't just take the prescription away. And are these highly addictive? My mom was an ER nurse in the 80s and 90s. I fucking knew. I knew opiates were addictive. My mother made sure I knew that, right? So I'm telling my doctor the whole time, aren't these addictive, highly addictive? Well, these aren't as addictive as some. That's what he's telling me. This is in 2004, 2005, 2008, 2010. As I'm getting worse and worse and worse. So I finally go to him after years of taking Percocet and Vicodin and Valium and a ton of anxiety, mental drugs, right? Because they're dumping those on you as much as the opiates. And at the end of the day, he's like, well, these aren't strong enough for you. We're going to have to move you up to methadone. And I'll never forget sitting in that office that day and saying, what? Isn't methadone for heroin addicts? He says to me, yeah, but we found that it works really well on pain control. No, you found out that it replaced that opiate in my opiate receptor for much cheaper, and the state could get in on it. So, I mean, we go after Purdue and we go after Sacklers, but they're not the only ones who profited off of the opiate epidemic. And it doesn't matter because nobody's going to pay at the end of the day. Methadone is more addictive. You're telling me methadone was my drug of choice. And I tell people that all the time. They're like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, I love a Percocet. Percocet make you feel great, but snort a methadone, a 20 milligram methadone, or back then we had wafers. They were called wafers. They were 100 milligram, and you broke them into little squares, so you got 25 milligrams at a time. They actually pulled those off the market probably about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because so many people were ODing on them. And you guys know I've talked about the opiate epidemic for years. It is my passion cry because I lived through it. Thank God I found Kratom, because so many of my friends and family members are dead or are stuck on big pharma's replacement drugs because they created this epidemic. So now we have these MAT drugs, medically assisted treatment. You broke your brain, you fucked your receptors up so bad that now we need to give you a synthetic opiate to plug into that receptor every day so you don't feel like you're dying. And the withdrawals, that series did a really good job of depicting what people go through when they're going through withdrawals. I mean, people that'll rob a pharmacy. I got to tell you, there was many fucking times when I was so sick that the thought of robbing a pharmacy went through my head. You will do anything to get straight, to get right, to feel good for just a couple more hours. And that's what it is too. And there's one scene in a mechanic shop of all places. And my brother and I worked in a mechanic shop together. And as you guys know, my brother has a very, very bad opiate habit. And it was like watching my life play out on film. I mean, I'm holding back the tears. I'm choking up on it like, oh my God, I lived that. And so I want you guys all to check it out if you get a chance, you want something to watch. But here we are years later, and Purdue hasn't paid a fucking dime, right? They were sentenced to pay $4 billion after we fought them for 10 years to get them into this position after they were protected by so many regulatory standards, right? So many industries protecting them. Finally, they get into court and now they're just filing bankruptcy because, that's what they do. They just name their company something else. They hide their assets. They file bankruptcy and they never have to pay a dime. So let's get an update on Purdue and the shithead Sacklers.
The Supreme Court has blocked a massive settlement from going forward for Purdue Pharma, the makers of the opioid OxyContin. Now, this came after an emergency request from the Biden administration that the high court step in. The $6 billion settlement would have given the Sackler family, the family behind Purdue Pharma, broad protection from liability. CNN senior Supreme Court analyst Joan Biskupik has much more on this for us. Joan, why did the Biden administration make this request? What are you hearing about that? And also, what does this move by the Supreme Court do and say?
Sure. Good morning, Kate. First of all, this was a settlement that was hammered out by the states and lawyers for victims of the opioid addiction that continues to, plague America. But there was a condition, and this is what was problematic for the Biden administration, that the Sackler family, which had controlled Purdue Pharma, that it would be shielded from any future opioid-related civil court claims. And in return, the Sackler family was going to put up the $6 billion. That's where the settlement stays. And the federal government came in and said, we want to challenge the bankruptcy judge's plan here because it exceeds what the bankruptcy code allows. This is what the federal government had said and wanted the whole thing put on hold, at least for now. And the Solicitor General, Elizabeth Prelogger, said this was an exceptional, unprecedented agreement. And here's what she said in part to the court: allowing the Court of Appeals decision, which endorsed the bankruptcy judge, to stand would leave in place a roadmap for wealthy corporations and individuals to misuse the bankruptcy system to avoid mass tort liability. Now, Purdue Pharma was countering that, telling the Supreme Court the plan at issue will provide billions of dollars and life-saving benefits to the victims of the opioid crisis, but those funds cannot be distributed until the plan is consummated, and a stay, postponing this case in any way, would waste valuable time, potentially several more months. And indeed, we now know, Kate, that the plan will be put on hold at least till next year, because oral arguments on the bankruptcy question will be heard in December, and likely a decision will come sometime next spring, at least by the end of June. Kate?
So interesting.
So
Good to see you, Joan.
interesting.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so basically what they're trying to say is Biden saved the day because he came in and told the high courts, hey, maybe you guys shouldn't reach this settlement deal. For one, it exceeds the amount of money you're allowed to write off in a bankruptcy, billions wise, right? And it lays out a roadmap for all these other rich corporations to get out of liability for fucking killing people. And what does Purdue come back with in classic Purdue style? And I'm telling you, you got to go watch this series because Matthew Broderick plays the head of the Sackler family. He does a great job. But they go, hey, we want to help people. There's people out there that are sick and addicted, and we can't get help to them till you guys say okay and you know, consummate this. And so now we're looking at another year before we get any money out of the Sackler family to help treat addiction from coast to coast, right? And it literally took DAs, state level DAs, coming after the guys and building a case for years to even get to this point. It's disgusting, and it leaves out all of the other companies that are out there making a bank, because it started out with Percocet, right? And Sackler's had the exclusive patent for Percocet. Well, for Oxycontin is what it was. And what Percocet is a little bit of Oxycontin and a little bit of Tylenol. Well, they're not the only ones out there making it and selling it, right? I mean, the makers of Vicodin, the makers of Valium, they all go hand in hand. When you're an addict, they all go hand in hand. And so I like to see all of these fuckers rot in hell where they deserve. You know how many families they have destroyed from coast to coast? You know, I think about my family. And the worst that would have happened was maybe some of us, the kids, you know, we're all grown now, would have been alcoholics, because that was the social acceptable norm that we grew up under, right? Because the elites, they have their cocktail hour and wine every night. You know, that's our family did. And but, you know, as we were getting into our early 20s, we really fought against that. I knew I didn't want to be an alcoholic. You know, I drank and I was a weekend warrior. But if opiates never would have came along, where would I be? And that's what I was thinking. Where would my family be? You know, my mom wouldn't have spent 20 years on opiates at the end of her life, which just destroyed her. I mean, the feeling of needing an opiate when you don't have one, it's indescribable. There's nothing that I could say out of my mouth that would explain to you the hurt that your body feels when you are opiate deficient and you need it. I mean, there's no way to explain it. Take the worst flu, the worst sickness, wrap it up with COVID, and then beat the hell out of it. And then that's what you feel like. And you got to get up and go to work and function and try to be normal. And that's why you break down. That's why these people end up on the streets, because you cannot maintain a life like that. And yes, Kratom saved my life. I've been on Kratom. It'll be 10 years next year. 10 years next year. And there was all people, oh my God, if you take that for more than a year, your liver's going to break down. It does stuff to your heart. These are all fear-mongering tactics. I did my due diligence research before I ever even took kratom for the first time. I went and I read the New England Journal of Medicine because nobody even knew what kratom was in 2014. 2013 and 14 is when I found kratom, and I take it every day, multiple times a day, and I am a functioning member of society. I'm not out there sick every day, using every dime I got, selling the last of my stuff. All my jewelry, every piece of jewelry I was ever bought from a kid till I was 36 years old, hawked, gone. I mean, anything that's worth value, gone. Why? So I could get that opiate. I don't have to do that anymore. And it's been such a relief. So yeah, they're outlawing kratom from coast to coast. And why? Because Big Pharma knows they're losing money off of it. And if they can isolate that one little molecule, guess what? They can sell it back to us. And that's what they want to do. Okay, we got to talk about this Albert Bourla video that's out there. Have you guys seen this one? Of course, he is the CEO of Pfizer, since we're talking about shithead big pharma companies. And it says it's duped. And I knew it was duped the first time I watched it, where he says our goal is to depopulate the planet. But go ahead and we'll check this out. Come on, hit play.
This video is being shared on social media platforms with the claim that it shows Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla saying that his company's goal is to reduce the world's population by 50% by 2023.
Was by 2023 we will reduce the number of people in the world by 50%. I think today this dream is becoming.
Reverse image search of screenshots from the video led us to a YouTube video with similar visuals. This is from a conversation that Bourla participated in at the Davos summit by the World Economic Forum. The original video was cut at the 2-minute 33-second mark to make this 38-second viral clip, and a part of the YouTube video was edited to make the viral video. In the YouTube video, Bourla said, "By 2023, we will reduce the number of people in the world that cannot afford our medicines by 50%. I think today this dream is becoming reality." In the viral video, the words "that cannot afford our medicines" have been cut out.
Was by 2023 we will reduce the number of people in the world by 50%. I think today this dream is becoming. Was by 2023 we will reduce the number of people in the world that cannot afford our medicines by 50%. I think today this dream is becoming.
Pfizer launched an initiative to provide patent-protected medicines to 45 lower-income countries. Bourla spoke about this in his conversation at Davos. As an edited video is being shared as the Pfizer CEO stating that his goal is to reduce world population by half, this post is misleading.
When you come across a piece of news that seems too ridiculous to be true, don't leave things to doubt. Run searches on Google and Yandex and weigh out the true and false of the situation for yourself by looking at the...
Don't run searches on Google. You'll just get lies. But yeah, a lot of people are pushing that video. Oh my gosh, Albert Bourla, the World Economic Forum, saying how they're going to depopulate. Now, we all see them doing this and saying this, right? We have Bill Gates saying it. We have Melinda Gates saying it. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. We got to reduce the world population. But what he said was, we're going to reduce the amount of people who don't have access to our meds. So that's just as fucking evil and just as bad, because he wants to addict the whole world, right? And get everybody on big pharma. That's what he was saying. Either way, equally evil. Let's see. Comrade Misty Putin. What does Misty say? Breaking, FDA finally announces that doctors can prescribe that I word, the horse paste, to treat COVID after attacking voices like Joe Rogan. She says, guess I should start accepting all those apologies I never get. Hey, at YouTube, you gonna compensate the numerous people you demonetized and platformed over this? Oh, good point, Misty. Good point. We took 2 strikes during the COVID years, I want to say. We got close to losing the channel for sure. Let's see. What is this? Cumulative excess mortality in the OECD nations. And yeah, look at that. Ow. And Sweden. Oh my God. It's almost like somebody called it. Kim Iverson? I don't know. She might have got it right. Israel. And why, you know what Chile has? Chile, United States, Israel, Canada. You know what they all have in common? They mandated, they pushed, they took your job away. I mean, Chile, you go watch Whitney Webb, she'll tell you like something like 98% of Chile got vaccinated. Just saying. The numbers don't lie. You guys can go check out Dr. John Campbell. He's doing a great job of chasing down these excess and breaking them down, and the numbers. He always does. So like I've said for a couple years now, you can go check him out for the good numbers. Let's see. What is this? The UK just announced it wants to force farmers to feed their cows red seaweed-based methane blockers to stop them from farting and burping. Guess who invested $12 million into a company that produces red seaweed methane blockers 2 months ago? Oh, that's right. Bill Gates. Are you awake yet? Feeling cute might poison millions of people and buy up all the farmland. I don't know. We know. We know. Man, he's turned out to be the absolute evil villain, right? For sure. Did you guys see this video? You know, all the train derailments that we've seen from coast to coast for the last 6 months? What is that all about? We keep bringing videos like, why is this happening? Is it because our infrastructure is so bad it's breaking down? Maybe, but maybe it's something like this. So in recent weeks in the U.S., devices have been discovered across the country that have caused train derailments. Police warned that they could lead to train derailments and the death of passengers. The devices have found all over the country from the West Coast to the East Coast. In most recent months, there has been a significant increase in derailment incidents in the United States.
Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. Look. Tell me that ain't what it is. And then look at that.
That's crazy. Let's play it again. What is that?
Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way.
Is it attached?
Look. Tell me that ain't what it is. And then look at that.
Crazy conspiracies everywhere, right? I don't know what to tell you. I don't. This is a crazy story. Hawk dropped a 4-foot-long snake on Texas woman mowing her lawn, prompted both animals to attack her. Oh my God, that's a bad day. Jilly's back. Welcome back, Jilly. We're talking about a woman who was mowing her lawn and a snake flew by and a hawk dropped a snake on her and then attacked her. So she got attacked by the snake and the hawk. That's a bad damn day. But Texas, man, you live down there, you got to deal with the critters. I know. I lived in the South. There's a lot of critters. Did you guys see this? The fight's back on. Elon and Mark say no to fighting and instead have started a family on Mars. Yeah. It is said that the fight's back on. And as soon as Zuckerberg decides the time and place, they're going to fight. So government doesn't announce that they become fascists. They announce anti-fascists are enemies of the state. Yeah, we see that a lot. Okay, what do we got? What's the next one? Oh, I can't even. Yeah, okay, we'll just watch it. Have you guys seen this?
To this man who's trying to take something else away from you. Pregnancy, not yours, women. We've already taken away women's sports, your right to compete and actually become a women's champion. Thank God that's been taken away. And now pregnancy needs to be taken away from you, if we are to believe what this man says. So, let's take a look at what else he says.
Getting pregnant and having a baby doesn't make me a woman because women don't own pregnancy.
We just can't stress that enough. Women don't own pregnancy.
Just like they don't own periods.
Now something else is taken away. You don't own periods. This man told you don't own periods. So listen to the men, if we're to believe this is man.
Now this doesn't mean that motherhood or womanhood doesn't exist, because it very much does, and it's sacred. And
sacred. This potentially, satanic influence telling you it's sacred.
What else is sacred too? Trans and non-binary bodies and experiences. And my experience as a birthing person is just as valid as a woman's experience is to motherhood.
Some would erroneously say that is motherhood, but it's different.
And my experience as a birthing person takes nothing away from the experience of a woman becoming a mother.
It literally takes pregnancy away from you, because this person's own words less than 36 seconds ago was, you don't own pregnancy. You thought you did. We're taking that away. It doesn't take anything away from you, except from what we're taking away. Welcome to 1984. We say we're doing the opposite of what we're doing. You can't see that.
And when we ask for language that represents us, we're not asking women to change what they call or refer to themselves as.
You're asking to change language, though. That's a problem.
We're simply asking for language that changes what you call us. Because not only women give birth, trans and non-binary people give birth as well. I'm a non-binary person, and I gave birth to my baby.
Okay, guys, I can't even go there. I mean, I even contemplated even bringing that because I don't hate on the trans community. I've always embraced them, loved them, and but changing language and attacking women like this, I can't sit by and just, I can't accept it. I can't embrace it. I'm sorry. And you guys crack me up. Jim, the guy's going to have a period in the pool to prove it. And what was the other one? You guys always make me laugh. Bleeding buttholes don't count, bro. Yeah, you guys get it. I'm not trying to bring hate. I'm not. But when we attack language like this, we completely tear everything apart. And that's what they're doing, right? And they have to for the transhumanist movement, not the transhumanist movement, where we have designer babies and they're grown in a lab. They're not grown in women. So they want to take that ability to reproduce away from us. Why? Because we're useless eaters and we're stupid and they don't want us to have the ability to procreate anymore, right? We're going to watch Idiocracy on Friday night. I hope you guys will join me. I already bought it. Rokfin and Kick and Rumble, I think, is where we'll be. And yeah, I mean, really what it comes down to is just we're too stupid. They want to take that control away from us, have designer babies. I'm trying to figure out what this is. I don't know. We'll just listen to it. We'll figure it out.
In 1984, Charlie Reese of the Orlando Sentinel wrote the following.
Oh yeah, this is
still true today. 100 senators, 435 congressmen, 1 president, and 9 Supreme Court justices equates to 545 human beings out of 300 million who are directly, legally, morally, and individually responsible for the domestic problems that plague this country. I excluded the members of the Federal Reserve Board because that problem was created by Congress. In 1913, Congress delegated its constitutional duty to provide a sound currency to a federally chartered but private central bank. I excluded all the special interests and lobbyists for a sound reason. They have no legal authority. They have no ability to coerce a senator, a congressman, or a president to do one cotton-picking thing. I don't care if they offer a politician $1 million in cash. The politician has the power to accept or reject it. No matter what the lobbyist promises, it is the legislator's responsibility to determine how he votes. Those 545 human beings spend much of their energy convincing you that what they did is not their fault. They cooperate in this common con, regardless of party. It seems inconceivable to me that a nation of 300 million cannot replace 545 people who stand convicted by present facts of incompetence and irresponsibility. I can't think of a single domestic problem that is not traceable directly to those 545 people. When you fully grasp the plain truth that 545 people exercise the power of the federal government, then it must follow that what exists is what they want to exist. If the tax code is unfair, it's because they want it unfair. If the budget is in the red, it's because they want it in the red. If the Army and Marines are in Iraq and Afghanistan, it's because they want them in Iraq and Afghanistan. If they do not receive Social Security, but are on an elite retirement plan not available to the people, it's because they want it that way. There are no insoluble government problems. Do not let these 545 people shift the blame to bureaucrats, whom they hire and whose jobs they can abolish, to lobbyists whose gifts and advice they can reject, to regulators to whom they give the power to regulate and from whom they can take this power. Above all, do not let them con you into the belief that there exists disembodied mystical forces like the economy, inflation, or politics that prevent them from doing what they take an oath to do. Those 545 people, and they alone, are responsible. They and they alone have the power. They and they alone should be held accountable by the people who are their
Who are their bosses? Absolutely. Just a good reminder that we let a small handful of psychopaths control every bit of our lives. Every single bit of our lives. Okay, I think we're getting on the way out of here. We're hitting Meme Alley, and let's see our first meme. Me pushing my paper plate down in the trash so I don't offend anyone after realizing the food is nasty. Oh, come on. We all do that, right? You just walk over with your plate. Yeah, there's always a couple of times at the potluck I grab stuff I don't like, but you don't want to offend, right? A couple more memes. You left the toilet seat up. Oh my gosh, you guys busted me. That's what my bathroom looks like at all times. I don't know about yours, but I try. Let's see. Most of the US population be like, this is totally fine. You can't change my mind. Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. $32.5 trillion debt. Just fine. Not a bad thing going on. Just live your life and have a good time. And I got news. Did you guys see? I posted a sunflower challenge update. I finally got out yesterday with the video camera, took a little tour of the trailer park garden, and showed you guys the mammoth sunflowers. Of course, the sunflower challenge is I planted Russian mammoth sunflowers at the same time that I planted American hybrid sunflowers. And we're seeing who's growing taller and stronger and bigger. And as you can tell from this picture, the Russian mammoths are huge. Of course, they are on my right side. And then on the left side are the American hybrids. And yeah, they're bringing the bees in, though. Oh my God, the bees have been gnarly. So you can head over to Trailer Park Pundit. If you're watching Beauty and the Boomer, make sure you sub to Trailer Park Pundit and check out my new gardening video. I do those every year. I am getting better about using a camera and editing and getting stuff moved. So sunflowers are mammoth. Yes, they are beautiful. I'm super enjoying them. And as soon as they all bloom, I will get you guys another video out. But make sure you go check out my video and give it a like. Australian MP blasts Blinken over Assange. The MP called the U.S. Secretary of State's remarks Julian Assange threatens the U.S. national security nonsense and said the U.S. is only bent on revenge. Yeah, that's all. The only reason they're holding Assange. The only reason. So remember that you can write Assange in Belmarsh while he's still in Belmarsh. Go ahead and screenshot that, or you can go to writejulianassange.com and get the info there too. So it's just never ending when it comes to Assange. It just wanted to end, right? Oh, and this was one I got from Jax. I haven't seen Jax this morning, but good morning, Jax, if you tune in. Yeah, rest in peace. Daryl, the voice of Daryl Dribble, passed away from King of the Hill, sadly. Of course, that is a Mike Judd directed, produced series. And like I said, we are going to watch Idiocracy this week, which is also Mike Judd. So Jack says, R.I.P. Johnny Hardwick. Gonna rewatch some King of the Hill. It was one of my all-time favorite shows. Yes, I love King of the Hill. King of the Hill is so funny. It's so funny. So yeah, you guys join me Friday night. We're gonna do movie night. Movie nights are so fun. And that's a good movie. And then, of course, the Boomer is going to be back in the Boomer chair for Beauty and the Boomer this coming Saturday. I did a solo show this weekend. I love doing solo shows, but boy, they're a lot of work. I was like literally hungover yesterday morning. I had a Beauty in the Trailer Park hangover. I worked so hard to get the shows wrote and produced. And, you know, we're working on them all week. Oz is doing the music and I'm doing refaces. So we're going to have a good show this week. We're getting to the end of the hot summer nights, so make sure you tune in and catch the last few of those. We always have fun with those. And if you want to help me out, I'm getting closer to getting my car worked on. I only need a couple $100 more to get the whole front end rebuilt. So 2 months ago, I thought I had a brake problem. And then I lost one of my tires. My front tire blew out. So I put money into fixing the tires. And then I took it in, got an estimate for the brakes. They said the brakes were bad. I needed to rebuild the whole system. But above and beyond that, they said that my rod bearing is ready to fall off. Like I have to have all this undercarriage work done. I just replaced the tie rods in it not too long, but they say I got to replace them again. So anyways, I'm only a couple $100 off. If you guys want to hit my GoFundMe, it is in the link below. I love and appreciate all of you who are helping me get out there and get back on the road. I was thinking about it. I have canceled everything in the last 5 months because of this fucking vehicle. I can't get out to my granddaughter's softball games. I can't get to the airport to fly off to Argentina or Cuba. I mean, I'm just dead in the water till I get this vehicle because I live so far out. I live so rural. It's a couple 100 miles to get inland, and I don't trust that car to even go a couple of miles right now. So that's where we're at. And if you want to help us out with the cookbook so we can get to Argentina in October, please submit your recipes or your ideas to me, Amber, or Oz, and we'd love to get your recipes out there. And I'm asking for the cheap recipes, stuff like here, you can make a pie with, a crust and some water. You remember the water pies from the Great Depression, but there's so many great, easy, few recipe type, few ingredient type of recipes out there. That's what people need as we go into this winter of death, whatever it's going to be. People are suffering and we got to save money. So that's what we want. Okay, let me shout the chats out before I get out of here. Some of you came back. How was Convo? I'm going to go watch it as soon as I'm done. Gamer for Life. Hey, Popeye. Barbara made it. Good to see you, Barbara. Jilly, I see you're back. Peace Stuff made it. Jilly, there were great clouds. Yeah. Go Start. Hi, Go Start. Did I miss Barb? I got Barb. Zombie in the Air. Good to see you. Midnight Karma. Vic. Hi, Vic. Thirsting Community Media. Is it still hanging in there? Are we finally at our final days? It makes me sad. Of course, screw Google. Hung out for the whole show. I appreciate it. And I think I called out everybody that was above that. Maybe a few scrolled in through the show, but I appreciate you tuning in. Dingo's hanging out over on the Kick and the Rumble, it looks like. Oh, Aerowaves is over there. We got a couple of other people. Jess Wiegand 28. I tried to quit Kratom for 6 months, ended up with dry heaves for 16 hours at a time for 6 months, 6 episodes till my throat was bleeding. I stopped trying. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that Kratom's not addictive. But when you have a severe opiate addiction like what I had, and when I say severe, I could take 500 milligrams of opiates in a day, no matter what they were. I had a severe addiction. So don't pretend that Kratom's not addictive. I tell people that all the time. If you don't have a serious fucking addiction, you probably should be playing around with Kratom. Just saying that. But for me, it's a natural alternative to Suboxone or methadone or these other synthetic opiate replacements that they have now. So, I mean, Kratom saved my life, but I understand that it's addictive, and I tell people that all the time. I always, if you're going to try Kratom, know it's addictive. Fred Edwards, thank you so much for always getting our stuff shared out there. Soxo Voxo Vix is hanging out on Rokfin, along with Amber King. Good to see you, Amber. Okay. Jim, good to see you, Jim. Fred Edwards, I already got Fred. Tech support. I could always use some tech support. I'm really going to need tech support when I move to my new studio. So Denver Attaway, TK, good to see you. Did I see Death to Tyrants in here too? Maybe not. Maybe not. Gregory's here. I think I got everybody. Okay, we're going to get out of here. It's Monday, which means there's going to be a Jimmy Dore, and I think Pasta might be sitting in Jimmy's chair today. I could be wrong, but I know Pasta is helping out over there. So tune in to Jimmy and see who's in the chair today. That'll be fun. And go catch that Convo Couch if you stayed with me and missed it. Okay, it's Monday, so I figured why not do a Blue Monday cover? But this is a great heavy metal cover of Blue Monday or New Order's Blue Monday. And I think some of you are going to like it. Okay, guys, we made it through today. And my eye stopped running. That's a good thing. I'm starving. I'm going to go find me a taco. I want a taco for some reason. And I will be back Wednesday morning with the midweek recap. And join me Friday for a movie and Saturday for Beauty and the Boomer. Thanks again for joining me. And peace, love, and happiness be with you this week. So I will see you Wednesday.